ABC investigates labor and sex trafficking right here in Kern County. 23 ABC's Laura Acevedo spoke to several local agencies working to expose the issue, specifically among farm workers. She joins us now live in the newsroom with an in-depth look at this growing problem. Laura?
Jackie, experts say that for every 50 victims that report sex or labor trafficking, another 50 go unreported. And those trying to fight the problem say it's bigger than what they expected in Kern County. A dark secret in the fields of Kern County.
It's a lot bigger here than I thought it was when I first got here, definitely.
When you actually speak to a victim and they talk about how many times it does happen and when it happens, then you get a reality check on that it is a problem.
Labor and sex trafficking victims claim they're forced to work in the fields or forced into sex trafficking through intimidation.
It's fake relationships and it's fake job offers, and of course with labor trafficking it can be both, but a big part of it is the fake job offer.
But when it comes down to the numbers, there's no clear statistic on the severity of the problem because the victims often don't come forward.
Those fears are valid in the embarrassment that comes with a sexual assault, which human trafficking is ultimately sexual assault if the sex happens.
With labor trafficking in the fields, many of the victims are foreign nationals from all parts of the world, including Mexico, Central and South America, Asia, and even as far as India.
And there's a lot of fear with being deported if they do come forward and come to law enforcement. So we don't actually get to see the victims until something bad actually happens, and then they're finally they finally identify themselves as a victim and come forward.
And no case, whether sex or labor related, is the same.
The trafficker, they say, is only limited by his imagination.
Detective Contreras is with the Kern County Sheriff's Office. While victims' privacy laws prevent him from going into specific case details, he says regardless of immigration status, their job is to help.
We treat them all the same. If they're out in the outlying area, we drive out to that outlying area. If they're out in the field, we drive out to that field.
But not all of the victims are undocumented. Advocates say many are here with valid work visas and still fall victim to the traffickers.
It's this crazy lie that is being fed the individual where they're actually forced into a place of thinking that they're working to pay back a debt that doesn't really exist.
The Kern Coalition Against Human Trafficking started about 3 years ago and is trying to bring resources together and awareness to the community.
We want to prevent it from happening. We want to expose it where it is happening.
The United Farm Workers, who work directly with farmers' rights across the country, say they're also aware of the issue in Kern County, but find that workers often don't realize they're being victimized.
They report, that they weren't paid. They report that they're living at a labor camp and they don't have access to the grocery store, or they don't have, kitchen facilities or bathroom facilities. So we're really working on we're really trying to introduce workers to these more moderate indicators.
The UFW is in the process of launching a program called Repórtalo, that means report it in English, to educate farm workers about the signs of trafficking.
And workers are afraid that if they report an issue, that they're afraid that they're backlash from the employer, and that they're afraid that they won't be able to get a job somewhere else.
But the UFW says they're trying to erase that fear. Their hope is that with this program, they'll be able to investigate trafficking allegations and potentially help the employees take legal action.
When you hear forced labor, when you hear modern-day slavery or human trafficking, it's such an extreme, image that it conjures up a very extreme image, and most workers don't identify with that.
All three organizations say they're barely scratching the surface and can't do it alone. They say it's important for the community to recognize the problem is here in Kern County.
Have been flat out lied to, and as a result of that are going through hell in their lives right now, and they need people to come alongside and help them get out of the situations that they're in.
I don't think we're losing momentum. I think we're just, picking up speed as we go.
The UFW is just starting to roll out the Repórtalo campaign and will continue to monitor that program and bring you the latest as it develops. In the newsroom, Laura Acevedo, 23 ABC News.